Welcome to a special spooktacular episode of the Cinema Dash. As always, I'm Gabbs.
And I'm DeGe.
I'm Frank and Gabbs. Anyway, new monster every time we do a review with me in it. Anyway, I'm sad on the inside and on the out. I'm just a sad person in general. Anyway, so, special episode, surprise guest, because I thought we were just going to be me and you, but then our good friend John came. So, hey John, what's going on?
How's it going?
So,
Yeah.
John is a good friend of ours. Known him since about freshman year of high school. You known him for a lot longer.
I've known him for a lot longer, yeah.
We go back.
We
Yes.
go back.
So yeah, John's on the show. John, do you watch our shit?
Yes, I do. I do in fact watch the show.
Awesome.
Nice. So we'll probably put John's Twitter or whatever you want in the description, wherever you really want.
I have a Twitter handle, but
Yes.
it's for Tetris. So
Yeah.
Yeah, we can put your Twitch link in
Yeah,
there.
that
Whatever
too.
whatever you want. Whatever you want.
If you so wish.
Whatever it is, you'll see in the description probably by the time.
Well, it's going to be uploaded.
You'll see it.
tomorrow.
So there you go. So
Yeah.
with that in mind, because we're here, we watched a movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think. Yes, we did.
Yeah,
Well,
I would say we watched it.
I thought.
We definitely.
Let me check
definitely
let me
watched
check my notes. Yeah, that's a movie you
it. I
watched.
hate you.
Anyway,
we saw.
I'm a terrible human being.
We're well aware. So we saw one of my personal favorite movies, Cloverfield. and-
not 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Not 10 Cloverfield Lane. We already saw that.
The original.
The original Cloverfield.
Yes.
The OG Cloverfield. The one that came out back in 2008. That's a blast from the past right
Yeah.
there. That's almost 10 years.
That's 8,
It's
I said almost 10 years.
but it's just 8. You just said 8.
John, it's almost
It's
10 years.
I mean, it's basically ancient history at this point.
Yeah, exactly. It's basically.
That's like almost a decade ago.
yeah, it's like
Yeah, I've
I'm
already
surprised
said
this
that.
movie wasn't like written in
Yeah.
hieroglyphics
Yeah.
or anything. Like, it's ridiculous. So
What-
yeah,
what is 2008?
I don't know. So anyway, what this movie is about? Pretty much, a couple friends are wishing their matriarch of the group or patriarch of the group goodbye. He's going to take a vice presidency job in Japan, and a monster hits.
with what job exactly? Who knows and who cares? Because there's a fucking monster.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, and so a monster hits New York City, and they try to survive.
And that's basically
That's
the movie.
pretty much the plot of the movie.
So
there.
first impressions. What was your first impressions of this movie?
I saw this movie in theaters back when it first came out, and I remember being like blown away by it because I never really seen a found footage movie before, and I've never really seen a found footage like with this high, or I'd never really seen like a movie filmed this way with like this high of a budget. I would say. So I was like blown away by this movie, and then I bought it on DVD, and I watched the shit out of it on DVD, and I hadn't seen this movie in like maybe like 6 years. So I watched it for the first time in 6 years tonight, and yeah, I love this movie. But anyway, what about you, Ant?
I think I mentioned in the 10 Cloverfield Lane one, I'd never seen the original, even though that has nothing.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with it.
I fully understand that now. So why J.J. Abrams would say this is a direct relative of it makes no fucking sense to me. So fuck you, J.J. Abrams, and everything you stand for. Anyway,
He's on the record for that.
yeah, I am. I'm multiple times on the record.
Oh,
for that.
there's a lot of shit he's on
Yeah.
record for.
So, yeah, I heard of this movie. I heard you liked it a lot. It's been on the list for a while of mine, the list of movies I have to see. So, knocked it down. I'm pretty happy about that. And, yeah, I can say that I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I will say that.
What about you, John?
Well, I've heard of Cloverfield before, but I've never seen it. I've never seen 10 Cloverfield Lane either, but I'll probably watch it after seeing this. Was this one of the first like really famous found footage movies?
I would say that
This had a pretty interesting, like advertisement.
yeah, it's the marketing campaign that really made this movie like what it is really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in regards to your question, like back in like 2008 and stuff like that, like there was still like an abundance of found footage movies.
Because Blair Witch was really
Yeah,
the one
Blair
that-
Witch was really the one that revolutionized the genre and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And but there was no like found footage movie with like this high of a budget or like this like caliber of filmmaking.
Right, I think
So-
yeah, that's something that really struck me about this is that what sets it aside from all the other found footage movies that I've seen is that really people think that when you make a found footage movie, the budget has to also be really low because
Yeah.
it looks lo-fi.
Yeah.
And I think they're just wrong about that. Such that Cloverfield actually decided that okay, we're gonna have it be shot on a camcorder, but it's also not going to be some people in the forest, and we're not going to spend $10 on it. I think that was kind of a good decision on their end. It really
Absolutely,
made me like this more than I would say any other found footage movie I've seen as of yet.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much our first impressions on it. So why don't we talk about what we liked about the movie? So I'll let you guys start first because I'm gonna take a while.
You're gonna take a what?
I'm gonna take a while.
Oh, at least you're gonna take a walk. I'm like, where are you going?
Yeah, I'll see you guys later. All right, mid episode.
I liked all the characters. I like 90% of all the characters in this movie. T.J. Miller was great. I loved him. The main guy, his brother, I really liked. Beth was hot, and she was also pretty good. The black chick was also really cool. Even like all the smaller like minor characters only had like 2 minutes, maybe like even like the one lines. Like it was all like believable too. Like the whole dialogue and everything I liked a lot. Mm-hmm. It was like very back and forth too. Just over. I think the characters are probably the best part about this movie, other than the fact that it's a very well caught handheld. What's it called again?
Found footage.
Found footage.
It's an iPhone movie.
Yeah, it's an iPhone movie. I agree with you on the characters, definitely. What about you, John? What did you like about this movie? What caught your attention?
I like the progression kind of struck me. It's like a lot of movies like this of Blair Witch, they kind of like start out either way too fast, as in they'll have some completely overblown, like they'll start with like some ridiculous party or like something, or it'll be the other end, it'll just be super boring. And it'll lose your attention before anything actually happens. I think this kind of struck it in the middle, which is rather difficult in the genre.
Yeah, I would definitely say.
Yeah, they definitely really struck a good balance in the first 5 or 10 minutes when they did the setup. It wasn't too much, but it also held my attention, which is I think it's very important to developing the plot later on. They really hit the nail on the head for that one.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I really like about this movie. Watching it 6 years later, that. Now that I know more about film and stuff like that, I understand like direction and stuff like that. But I really like the intro to this movie because it sets us up to the characters. Like this movie's not like your traditional like monster movie. No. It actually focuses on its characters. And not so much like the fact where, like with Godzilla, where you have like throwaway characters, like Godzilla 2014, where you have like throwaway characters and stuff like that. But I'm talking like these people are actually like real people in this movie. Like they actually like.
Godzilla 2014 was a good movie.
Godzilla 2014 is a fantastic movie, but its characters were shit. Like there's no denying that.
It's good for different reasons.
I liked everything about that movie.
I don't know. I did not like Aaron Taylor Johnson's character.
I watched it a second time with my roommate Colin. Granted, he thought the movie was like a 5 out of 10. I think it's second time I watched it was almost as good as the first time. I still give it an 8. Like it's
it's a straight up 8 out of 10. Yeah. So like I don't know.
It's got Bryan Cranston.
Yeah, it's got Bryan Cranston, but I don't know. It's just my point is like this movie takes time developing its characters. Like especially with that whole intro sequence, it gives these characters a personality. You understand who these people are by the time the movie starts. And it makes you care about them and actually what happened and like care about what happens to them in the long run of the movie.
I liked how it was like the setting. I like the setting they chose for it. Like, it was like a goodbye party, and then this happened.
Yeah.
So it's just like, okay, now like everyone has to like care about each other because like this is like obviously something that like they're very close friends. He's leaving for Japan. It's like halfway across the world.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just like you have like at that point like if you don't have characters that care about each other, then this movie's not gonna be good.
Yeah, exactly.
They do a good job in generating a sense of closeness and then keeping it throughout the movie. I also find it really interesting how you could say that this is a monster movie. But it's interesting how they don't really focus on the monster. In fact, you don't even see it for the first half or so of the movie, right? It's like there's a monster. You can pretty much deduce that there's a monster, but they don't actually focus on the monster because it's not about the monster.
Yeah.
It's about
exactly. Yeah. And that's in part due to this movie's like genius marketing campaign when it first came out. Because they did the whole like ARG thing where like it was like who is Clover and like what is Clover, and it was like these trailers with like no movie, and it would just be like a date, and then like the date would come, and then like a website would come up, and then like there was like a drink related to it or something like that. It was called like Slusho. No, there was like a bunch of mysterious shit that was going on in this movie when it came out, and I followed it for the most part because I was really into this when it came out, and there was like a bunch of stuff going on, and then like that's what totally adds to the mystery of this movie because 1, you don't know where this monster comes from. 2, you don't know what this monster looks like until halfway in the movie. 3, like you know nothing about this monster and like the stuff behind it, like the driving force behind it or whatever. It's really interesting and mysterious. And then like Yeah, it's just genius, like this marketing campaign and just the mysteriousness behind everything about it.
This is like one of the instances where the ARG actually works in its favor.
Absolutely,
unlike something else that's been happening recently. Fuck you, Blizzard. Anyway, because fuck that. Anyway, that's just like a big.
Oh, that's a common occurrence. John is making like the biggest cringe face at just like the levels that just came up on the.
Oh, it's just clipping all over.
Oh, it's just clipping.
Oh, the
all
clipping.
over the place.
Oh, not the clipping.
Not the clipping.
But like,
yeah.
Other than that, like the relationships are just like, which I'll probably just jerk off the entire time we're doing this recording. No, yeah, like I'm gonna probably relate this more with Godzilla 2014, just because like they actually do show the monster a lot, and you actually do get. I understand like this whole like biology, like it's like just like the way it looks and everything.
Yeah.
Where like Godzilla, like you get like those shots which is like from the feet up, and then like you see like his entire like thing.
Figure and stuff.
But
yeah.
like this is an hour-and-a-half movie where that's 2.5 hours. And you get to see Godzilla for 15 minutes. Granted, those 15 minutes are fucking stellar.
Absolutely.
And every time you see the monster in this one, it's pretty fucking cool too.
Yeah.
So, like, I will be comparing these two movies closely because I think these two movies are.
Yeah, it's warranted. It's definitely
Yeah.
warranted. I totally can see the comparison.
So I did someone.
Well, that was
yell?
weird. Yeah, I heard that too. Hey. Oh.
Hey, it's a spooky.
There's
scary.
people yelling outside our recording room.
Let's
fine.
hope it's not a Godzilla type monster,
Yeah.
but we won't be able to see it for the next hour.
Yeah, right.
Spooky, scary.
But yeah, another thing that I really like about this movie is just the action. The action in this movie is phenomenal
Yeah.
as well. And what I think works in this movie's favor is the found footage itself, because this type of found footage is like, you know, because like whenever something like terrifying or like actiony happens in a found footage movie, it tends to like feel like the guy holding the camera has Parkinson's. Instead, in this movie, like it shakes. I would guess like a realistic amount.
That's like the third recording you mentioned Parkinson's, and I'm like, dude, what the hell?
I just Parkinson's, man, just Parkinson's. But anyway,
Blair Witch has some major parts.
Blair Witch has some major Parkinson's, but like this movie, it's sort of a realistic amount of because like it helps with the character of HUD, because the character of HUD really wants to document all of this shit, and he tries his best to get a stable shot of the monster and all the action.
And that's why he's like he's probably the best character in this movie.
He's absolutely the best character.
Even though you see him probably less than the monster himself.
Yeah.
Which is really weird, just because like you don't really like see that in a monster.
Yeah, but you
movie.
feel like that kind of connection with HUD and stuff like that.
Cloverfield does something rather special, such that a lot of the important concepts, like some of the main characters, the monster, they're things that you don't explicitly see. It's not really an explicit description. It's more of an implicit thing they have going on. It's like the things that they convey, the things that happen, the characters. It's more that you feel what's happening rather than see it, or at least you feel it before you see it.
And it all helps that every single performance in this movie is incredible, especially T.J. Miller's performance.
Oh yeah,
it's pretty good.
What really strikes me was the part when Clover hits the helicopter. The monster's name is Clover, by the way.
Yeah.
When Clover hits the helicopter, he's like screaming for his life.
Oh yeah,
he is giving like it's like kind of disturbing. Like
that's why I like the dialogue in this movie so much. You know, it's like when it's like that part where like everyone's running, like it's believable. Like oh shit, this would probably be like what's happening if this were to happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
I got like this is probably gonna sound weird. I don't know. It gave me like really like a lot of like 9/11 vibes from it. You know what I mean?
No, I totally get it.
Because, like, I don't know why, but, like, recently I've been watching, like, a lot of, like, day of 9/11 news coverage. Because, like, I watched Sleepy Cast, and, like, they mentioned something like that on one episode. So I'm just like, and they had, like, links in the description. I'm like, all right, I want to check this out. It was, like, an hour-and-a-half clip of, like, ABC News' like, coverage of it. And I'm like, it's really cool, but also, like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Because, like, you get to see, like, all that shit happen. It was, like, baffled me, like, holy shit.
Yeah, it's a disaster.
Great, like, I was 4 when this happened, and when that happened, and, like, it's just, like, holy shit, like, that happened. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, and, no, I definitely get it. Even with, like, the scale of destruction in this movie. Like,
I mean, like,
granted, like, 9/11's nowhere near the scale of destruction.
Yeah, because they fucking love the movie. They
level the entirety of New York City in this movie, but, like... but yeah, no, I totally get it, because like it's all very grounded in reality, even though it's a monster movie. But like it's all feels like it's very grounded in reality, and that's what I think.
Didn't it have like some kind of conflict with that too? Because like, I mean, 2008, like it's 7 years after that happened, but still, like it's still a touchy subject, no matter how much you make fun of it.
I don't know. I don't remember there being like a thing.
You don't openly make fun of 9/11 while you're in New York. That's what I mean. Like
oh yeah.
So
obviously. But yeah, and also one thing that I probably my favorite aspect about this movie is the monster itself.
yeah,
I love the design of this monster. I
even
love
the,
it.
even the little creatures too. I like too.
Oh, that added like an entirely like new level
like
to like how good this fucking monster
like I've
is.
seen clips of this movie before,
Yeah.
and I've seen them. I just didn't know how like effective they would be in the movie, and now
Oh no, that
Yeah.
entire subway sequence is fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
I watched when I watched that in the theater, I could not sleep for like weeks when I first saw that.
Yeah.
Like I was shitting the bed when I first saw that.
It's like really like it's interesting how there's sort of this like dichotomy going on. It's like a lot of the things that they're describing, like I said before, are very implicit. But then the things that they do describe visually are very black and white. Literally, you have the military depicted by every time they run into them, it's blinding. And then the worse off they are, the darker it is. For example, the subway, they're like pretty screwed when that's going on. It's pretty bad, and then they show that. So it's like they very carefully picked things to emphasize and other things to kind of just like hide away.
No, yeah, like the part when they were going into like that hospital area in the subway station, where like they have the blinding light going in like that one shopping area, and then like the army guys come out. Like
And then the helicopters, it's the same thing. Yeah.
It's like it's actually a very good point. Also, I just thought another thing too. That whole like subway sequence was it just like felt so claustrophobic because it was so dark, and the only way like people can see is where like the camera was looking. And like when that night vision went on, I'm like, oh, there's like 3 of those like little like scarab things. I'm just calling them like little scarab things because
I mean that's what they are.
Yeah, and like they're just on the seal and they're on the ceiling of the subway of the rail. And I'm like, oh shit!
I was like, oh, fuck! When I first saw that.
That's a lot of.
Right, and it's interesting how they did that without it being like a jump scare. Though.
Yeah, and that's what I liked about it because there's no music in this movie.
Also, there's no jump scares in this movie.
And there's also no jump scares in this movie. And that's what I love about it because and that's what I love about like the direction of this movie because when Matt Reeves, the director of this movie, puts something scary on screen, there's no like musical cues for it. There's no like any like piercing sounds. No. There's just like I'm putting this thing on the screen and it's gonna scare the shit out of you. Like
there's no anticipation. It's less of like a, oh no, I hope this doesn't happen. It's more like, oh my god, this is happening.
This is happening. Yeah, exactly. And it's going back to what I was saying about the monster. I just love like while it's not explicitly stated in the movie, you can kind of see where because I was reading after this movie came out, I was reading a bunch of like interviews and articles about the making of this movie, and I watched like all the behind the scenes shit on the DVD and stuff like that. It's that this monster is not like a Godzilla. It's not actively searching to destroy the city. It's a baby that crash landed on this planet and it's scared
but the thing is like how do we know that?
That's the thing. Like, well, when you look at it, it's not attacking people, and like you can make the argument that like near the ending of the movie when they're in the helicopter and stuff like that, it's like running away from all that shit.
And just the helicopter was in its way.
And then, because like it got carpet bombed, and then it was like getting up, and then like it hit the helicopter.
Granted, but like it was like super low, and then like it just jumped up in the air. Though.
Yeah, but even before it got carpet bombed, it was like running away from all, like, the bullets and stuff like that. And then also before they go into the subway, that sequence on the street, it was like crawling away and like looking away, like trying to like avoid the bullets and stuff like that. Yeah. Like it's just like looking for its mother. Like it's a baby looking for its mother, and it's scared because people are like trying to blow the fuck out of it.
Then where's the mom then?
That's the whole mystery behind it. Like where it obviously like crash landed on the planet.
A lot is left up to the imagination.
And that's the whole thing. Like that's the whole mystery behind it. Like what is this thing?
It leaves you wanting more, and then you get 10 Cloverfield Lane, which has nothing to do with it really.
Yeah.
So where the hell is Cloverfield 2?
But that like leaves that's. I mean, yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I would love to see a sequel to Cloverfield explaining all this shit, but not having the answers also makes it kind of cool because you can make your own theories about it and stuff like that.
Or it'll be left up for a sequel like 30 years in the future.
I mean, it's like, I would love to see a sequel, but
you could kind of almost look at it as if they use mystery almost as a device. Like the best,
absolutely,
the best description, the best backstory of this monster that there could be is that it has no backstory. There's no way for them to really define it without really ruining sort of the mystery, right?
It's just a simple day in New York that just happens, and then all of a sudden sudden something fucks everything up.
It's any other night, and then
Yeah.
that happened. Yeah.
Exactly. That's the whole thing behind it.
Like every time I go to New York to hang with my brother or just to go in with friends, it's just like it looks like every other day it looks like the same thing.
It's
like
just the same thing.
Every people are just going to work or hanging out.
Yeah, and then just one night,
Yeah.
this shit happens, and it's like, oh,
Like a lot of
There's
people
a monster.
They're gonna die.
yeah.
Anyway.
And but yeah, mystery definitely works as a huge positive in this movie, and the monster itself is just I love it. I love the monster in this movie, and also it's like the scene where it eats HUD, like it's just like it's curious. You know what I mean? Like because like he's like when he looks down at HUD, it's like what are you?
Are you food?
Yeah, and he's like, "Are you food?" Like the thing's got to eat, obviously. So he's like, "Oh," and then the woman before in the movie, she's like, "It's eating people. It's eating people." It's like,
Where did it say that?
Marlena. Remember when like the whole like when after the Statue of Liberty's head like
she was like
went across the street, she was like traumatized.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, "Guys, it's eating people."
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, she was like, "Guys, it's eating people," and yeah. So it's like it's curious. Like it's also got to eat too.
And
So
then they're going to eat me.
oh my god,
We gotta do Troll 2.
we got to do Troll 2.
That's
Oh
it.
my god, it's perfect. It's Halloween. It's 10 days until Halloween, so we could do one. We could do Troll 2 for our thing.
There you go.
That'd be good. But yeah,
We could try.
a lot of positives about this movie. I honestly I love every single aspect about this movie. So what about you guys? Anything else you want to say that's good about this movie?
I think we pretty much covered I think I pretty much covered everything that I liked.
Yeah.
If it is, it's just like a bunch of smaller stuff.
I do have one problem with this movie though.
Okay.
But I'll let you guys go first. See if you didn't like anything.
I didn't like Lizzie Kaplan's character at all. I felt like she was pretty useless. I don't see any reason why she was in this movie other than like being T.J. Miller's love interest who didn't want any part of him.
I mean, I can see where you're coming from because it also you're like your point is like reinforced by the fact that she's like, yeah, I'm not even supposed to like be at this party. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like you say she wasn't supposed to be there, and like literally she was not supposed to be there because she wasn't even supposed to be.
Because
at this party.
you mentioned during the movie that it was supposed to be some other person's character, and then like
No, not her character. Like the actor. Like she was supposed to play her.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
So like if that were the case, and then 10 Cloverfield Lane were to happen, like that wouldn't make any sense because she'd be dead.
Yeah, exactly. It wouldn't make any sense. So, yeah. Anything else?
They didn't know that. I mean, at the time.
Yeah.
Well, at the time, obviously, but like she was like an up and coming actress. You know.
Yeah, I think
The best thing she was known for was Sky High.
Sky High. Is that the one with Kurt Russell?
Yeah.
Where he's like the superhero dad.
Yeah. It's
Oh
like
my
a
God.
Superhero high school
and the
floating
sun-
in the sky.
Yeah.
And the son was just like, I'm just terrible. And like, oh, I can fly and have super strength, so I'm basically Superman now.
Yeah. It's,
I'm discount Superman.
Discount Superman.
like her name was Marlene, right? Is that
Marlena.
Marlena, yeah. I kind of like. She seemed like one of the weaker characters to me. It's like it's almost as if I get the feeling that they put her in there for the sake of having like a foil, having someone that's not quite as like bubbly as everyone else, sort of like to balance out the cast of characters. But I don't know. It's almost too much.
It's like they just put her in there just so they have another character to kill off sometime
like,
later on in
like,
the movie.
Yeah, it's like the token quiet person that just
Yeah.
gets like destroyed.
I mean, granted, she did
also-
have some witty lines from here and
because
there.
with T.J. Miller, because
Started-
like the part with like
getting there.
the part with Garfield was pretty funny.
That was a good line.
Like that's another thing I have a problem with this movie. Some of the comedy they throw in the movie is kind of like
Out of place.
Out of place.
Yeah.
Like I'm literally gonna shit my pants. Like that's
my favorite line. In the movie.
that was like. I mean, do you have to like make a joke right now? You're climbing a building that might crash right now.
I don't know. Like it's just. I mean, it's more of just like an exclamation. It wasn't supposed to be like a joke. You know, it's just like, oh god, I'm gonna shit my fucking pants in the stairwell if we go up another one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What about you, John? You not like anything about the movie?
I don't know. Like Marlena's character was like a little. I would have liked to see her character be a little bit more developed. Maybe that was the point, though. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell, right? You have this sort of mysterious person going with all the other vibes that the director took, where they're just omitting certain things, and you have to think to yourself, well, maybe that's what they did with her character too, or maybe they just didn't really pay enough attention to what was going on with that. It's really hard to say. I don't know if I was really digging that whole sort of idea that they were going with on that.
I got you.
Yeah.
I have one major problem with this movie, and I have one minor problem with this movie.
Those are.
My one minor problem with this movie is that I think Rob is a completely unlikable douchebag character. I don't like Rob at all. The main character.
Yeah. Didn't they call him that at the beginning?
Yeah. No, they literally called him
like, you're a fucking douchebag, dude.
No, and the thing is, like,
I understand.
At the later part of the movie, he becomes a much better character.
No,
It's just that he's such an unlikable character in the first half of the movie. It's just I like even if he does become a better character, I can't get invested.
I don't really
in it.
understand. I don't get that. Like, how is he not like likable? Like all you get from him is like, okay, he's leaving for Japan. And he slept with Beth, and that's all we know.
Yeah, and he like didn't call her back, and he like ignored her and shit
but like he
that.
was leaving anyway. So like, what was the point of that supposed to be?
Yeah, what was the point of sleeping with her then?
To give backstory?
there you go. That proves my point.
It's kind of like maybe it's like it seems like they were kind of trying to overstuff a little bit with like having dynamic characters and something like this doesn't really do much except to try to maybe cause you to become closer to them and be more affected when they just inevitably get killed off. But
yeah,
maybe this wasn't the right place to try to put some sort of story in like that, like some sort of character development. Might have been too much.
I mean, granted, it's just like the entire like first 20 minutes of the movie is just so you get to know these characters.
Yeah,
it's just like some characters are better than others, but that's with like every movie though. Yeah. You know what I mean? Some characters are better than others unless you have like The Godfather or whatever.
They can't all be the best character.
Yeah, exactly. But Rob in the second half of the movie becomes an exceptionally better character than he is in the first half. It's just he's such like a douchebag in the first half. I don't care that he becomes, but whatever. It's a minor problem. I don't really pass it.
Like whatever.
It's just a minor thing for me, at least. Maybe not for you guys, but for me, whatever. My major problem with this movie is some of the editing. I didn't like, and I didn't like this back when I first saw it too. I didn't like the fact that some of like Rob and Beth's trips to Coney Island were like sprinkled in there a little bit throughout the movie.
Like that.
I don't know. It completely changed the pace of the movie for me.
It like some of them seemed out of place. I didn't really understand why they were doing that. I mean,
like
there was that one minor detail at the end that sort of made it make sense, but I don't know if that was really like justified. I don't know if it was really worth it.
That's the thing though. Like at the end of the movie, that one shot of them like at Coney Island was perfect. Like it was a great, it was a great ending to the movie.
I think they just should have been spread out more because they're more in the beginning, and then there's like a whole chunk where like they're just trying to get to her, and then there was that one part at the end.
Yeah, and then there's and then there's the whole chunk where they're trying to get to her, and then it's like sprinkled in there like one or two times. It's like this doesn't need to be here.
Like you should just
there's no point in this being here.
Like here, then like a little while, then here, then a little while, then here, and then whatever.
Yeah, it was just like I get it. They went to Coney Island, but like this has nothing to do with them trying to survive or anything. Like
I mean, it sets up a great and amazing shot at the end, but at what cost?
Yeah. Yeah,
exactly. And that shot at the end is like amazing. It's iconic because you see how the monster. Well, albeit like you have to really look at the screen to see it, but it shows the monster coming to the end, and then it's just like at the end, she's like, that line is so haunting. She's like, I had a great day. But, like, they both just got fucking nuked and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's, like, a very haunting and, like, real line. Yeah. And I love it, but I feel like they should have just saved that for the end of the movie with, like, spacing out the parts where they cut in with Beth and Rob just a little bit more throughout the movie. Then have it less frequent throughout the movie than they did. That's my only major issue with this movie. And my only minor issue with this movie. Other than that, fucking love this movie. So, any other things that caught your eyes?
I don't really think so. I think I just recognizing some of the areas in New York, like, oh shit, that's gone.
That's not there anymore.
I saw that the other day, and now it's gone.
Yeah, it's a really ambitious thing that they took on there with, like, the city of New York. It's very complicated, very relatable thing, and you gotta be very careful, especially because it's New York. But you gotta be very careful when you're doing like an apocalypse movie with something that people recognize easily, because if you mess it up, like everyone will know. I think they really did a good job on that.
It was very tasteful.
Oh yeah,
the destruction was very tasteful.
Also, like I like the layout of it because like I kind of like understood where they were going, because like when we go to New York most of the time, like I'm the one with like the map trying to figure out where we are.
Yeah.
So it's just like, okay, like this is there, and like I know where like Columbus Circle is, so like I know like the buildings there.
Yeah.
And like, oh, my brother lives like the more south side, so like I see like I saw like the Chrysler building, which I think is more toward the south. I understand like it's more. I think it's more toward the south. As you can see, I'm not very good with the map now. I'll probably get yelled at by my brother later. But no, like I see like just like the park and like what's below that. I understand where that is because that's where you usually go. But like that's like the one thing I caught my eye. Just like the locations I liked.
Yeah. I thought the shot with the Statue of Liberty was fucking awesome.
Well, the
when he basically plays baseball with the
yeah.
Statue of Liberty's head and it like slides
well,
across
that's
the
like
street.
that's arguably the most famous shot of the movie.
Yeah, it's on the front cover of the movie.
Yeah. Well, the front cover of the movie is
the Statue of Liberty
with no head.
No
on
head.
it.
Yeah.
It's a nice way to really switch gears.
Which by the
Absolutely.
way, every disaster movie that involves New York involves something with the Statue of Liberty.
Oh yeah, of course, because everybody wants to see like these icons get destroyed. You know what I mean?
I mean,
besides, you know,
like,
the World Trade Center.
do you like that? Like when like iconic like structures get destroyed.
See, like the thing, like I have a weird thought with that. Like when I watch like a disaster movie, like say like Big Ben gets destroyed, I'm just like, that was built in like 1510.
Yeah.
And it was destroyed in like that, like a second.
Doesn't that happen?
It's just like, what?
Doesn't V for Vendetta? Is that where that is, or no? Is that different?
Dude, I haven't seen V for Vendetta.
V for Vendetta does. I think it blows up the entire like.
I think it blows
structure.
up Parliament. I think it blows up Parliament.
I think the clock does get destroyed in it. I mean,
Yeah,
I've never seen
like
it. I read the graphic novel.
That's what comes to mind when I think of that. You know, it's rather striking. It goes with the whole like relatability thing.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, using the location as a device to make you feel more connected to what's going on.
Yeah, it's just like when I look at it, like when I look at like Big Ben or something, or like the Eiffel Tower, like get destroyed or something, I'm just like, that thing has been around for like so long, and like there's so much history involved with that building, and it's just gone in like a second. Now, granted, like good disaster movies will show like the scale of the destruction by like highlighting that like this is a true loss to like society and stuff like that. Like with this movie, like when the Statue of Liberty gets destroyed, like they don't like the freaking head is in the middle of the street with like claw marks in it and
like,
bite marks.
Like people taking pictures of it, although they're definitely not safe.
Which I also thought was a super cool detail in this movie. The fact that the Statue of Liberty had like bite marks in it. You can see like the monster was like trying to bite it and like so you can see if you can eat it and stuff like that. Like it's I fucking love this movie.
Just going back on that one question I proposed, like I don't like that. I just like I wanted to visit that and now it's gone. It's just like
I have to like Google this Statue of Liberty. Is it still there? Okay, Cloverfield's fake. I forgot.
Like I want to go see the Statue of Liberty. Oh nope, it's now.
No, its head's in the middle of Midtown. Like it's decapitated.
Like 2012, like that disaster movie that was like, oh let's.
Oh my god, dude! Didn't we see that in theaters together? I think it was me and Damien who saw it.
Like I hate that movie just because like it's. I don't like disaster movies just because of that one thing. I was like, I don't like seeing things get destroyed unless it's like an action movie. It's just like people getting killed. Or like that. Like, if it's people getting killed, then by me, go
go ahead.
By all means, go ahead. But if it's if it's a statue, fuck off.
I don't know. 2012. I don't really like the idea of 2012.
It's like because
you guys remember like that whole thing?
Because I remember seeing like a promotion for it like during one of the James Bond movies that came out before then.
Oh, so Skyfall.
No, I don't think it was Skyfall. No, it was not
or
Skyfall.
Quantum of Solace. Then.
I think it was that. It was either that or Casino.
No, because Skyfall came out 2012, and 2012 came out in 2010, which was fucking stupid, by the way. I don't know why they would.
Anyway, like, the point is like, because I remember like the promotion they did was like, it's like a snowy mountaintop, and there's like a monk, and he's just like praying up there. He's doing whatever, and then like you hear like a bell ring. And like, there's so much wind, and like
big wave.
and then he looks behind him, and it's like a huge fucking wave.
Yeah, I remember.
And it was like 2012, blah blah blah. And as a kid, that scared the shit out of me. And then, like, when I watched the movie, I was like, this is terrible.
No, yeah, like. Do you guys like literally like remember like the year 2012? Do you guys remember that?
I remember
like everybody was like as soon as December 1st hit, everybody was like flipping the fuck out.
I remember the day.
Yeah, I remember the day more specifically just because like.
I remember the day too.
Because like I remember for whatever reason that was the day that Gangnam Style broke Justin Bieber's baby record of like that's the end of the world. That's the end of the world. I remember Justin's reign's over.
I remember I woke up and there was a horrible thunderstorm outside.
I was just about to say that.
It was horrible.
Yeah, no, I remember because my parents were I was hanging out upstairs with my sister like in the living room. Yeah, I remember I was hanging out with my sister in the living room. My parents were out at Corrado's. I went outside and I was like, so today's December 21st. And I went outside and I saw like the clouds and like the black clouds rolling. I was like, oh my god, it's actually fucking happening. And I remember I called my friend Nicole and I was like, Nicole, like I love you. I'm sorry. Like no, not like I love you. I'm in love with you. Like I was like, I love you. You're my best friend. Like I'm gonna miss the shit out of you if we die. Like look for me in heaven or something. I remember saying like look for me in heaven or something like that. And then like it all cleared away and I was like. is it done?
Yeah.
And then I went to
That's
sleep.
it.
And then I went to sleep and I forgot about it the next day. And I was like, oh, okay.
That's like the interesting thing is like, you know, like that kind of event. I was very skeptical, but you wake up and you look outside and it looks like that, and you can't help but wonder. Wait a second.
He was like, holy shit, were they right?
Like what if something's actually going on
It's
here?
like,
yeah, right.
it's like,
All some meteors are falling from the sky. It's like,
just like, huh, they're right.
huh, oh, look at that. Bring out a cigarette and just like smoke out the thing. Like, well, as the meteors are like falling from the sky and waves are crashing.
Well, shit.
So, well, yeah, Mom, Dad, yeah, it's happening. Like, bye.
I'll see you up there.
Yeah, I'll see you up there, all right?
I probably won't.
It's
I won't see you up there. I know where I'm going.
It's like I was just about to say. It's like you, your mom, and your dad are up there. It's like, guys, where's Grandma?
Guys, where's Jesus?
Jesus, like, where you at, dude? Oh man,
That's kind of the sense that they capture in this movie when like they very very carefully go about that 5 minutes when it goes from normal to like very very not normal.
Yeah,
It's
like a bunch. Like, yeah,
the whole like oh my god, like no, this isn't real. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Like maybe I'm
Yeah.
seeing things like this isn't real. Like
yeah, and
But
it's
then
all
it is.
very realistic and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And that's
So.
and I love this movie. So let's rate this bad boy, shall we?
All right.
Why don't we do it first?
I would carpet bomb this giant monster 7.5 times out of 10.
Okay. I would shit.
So I'll give you time.
You've always like
Yeah.
the thing. Gabbs has always been better at this shit than me.
So the whole point of our rating system that I created is that you take one aspect of the movie and you give that a rating. So like with me with carpet bombing the monster, I would carpet bomb the monster 7.5 times out of 10.
I would shit my pants 9 times out of 10 in a stairwell.
There's that.
There we go.
I would I don't know. I would get knocked out of the sky in a helicopter 8 times out of 10.
That's
There
good.
we go.
That's
All right.
good.
Hey, whoa. 7.5, 8, 9. Guys, we nailed it.
All right.
Anyway, thank you guys for joining us on part 3 of our 10-part Halloween series. Thank you so much, John,
Yeah,
for
thanks,
being
John.
here with
Of
us.
course, pleasure to be on the show.
Absolutely. You're always welcome if
Yeah.
you ever want to
Yes.
come on whenever
you.
you're home and stuff like that. So,
Very
yeah.
well.
Yeah,
So I'm Gabbs.
and I'm DeGe.
And,
I'm Con Jolella.
Damn straight.
And this is what our outro looks like.